Hi everyone, Jim here. I am about to attempt my first YouTube handgun review. I've got a few guns that are a little different from what the average guy has. Not a lot, just a few. But the ones I get the most questions on are my Detonics Combat Masters. Well, for those of you that don't know, in the late 70s, concealed carry was, just really starting to get in the swing of things. And people felt that a lot of the full-size guns were just too big, as they do now. But there weren't a great number of smaller handguns at the time that carried what was considered a full power cartridge. You get like the Walther PPK, but it's smaller cartridge, and a lot of guys didn't trust them. Most of the ammunition at that point was standard ball ammo. So it was not the most effective stopper. A lot of people like carrying the 1911 and 45 caliber. For the time, it was one of the best stoppers you could get your hands on. But it's not the smallest or easiest thing to pack around. This is my Delta Elite 10mm 1911 model. Empty, no magazine. But as you can see, it's not a small package. It's full 5-inch barrel, full-size grip. Great for control, highly accurate, but not the most concealable thing in the world. So there's a gentleman named Pat Yates who had the idea of taking 45 caliber 1911 and making it a more concealable, more packable size. And what he came up with, essentially, was this. This is the Detonics Combat Master. It is 45 ACP and a very packable size. It's not lightweight. It's still, a full steel gun. The only rubber or polymer or anything of that nature on it. This right here has got Pakmar Grips and a Pakmar mainspring housing. The rest of this is real steel. But they came out with these things, and no one had ever seen anything like it. These came out about 8 years, I believe, before Colt brought out their officer's model. These actually have a shorter grip than the officer's model by, I think, about 3/16 of an inch. And when you hold it, like you see, my finger curls up underneath, and I have a 2-finger hold on the grip. But it's actually very controllable, very shootable. And this is, fairly representative of today's current crop of small concealed carry pistols. This is a Kel-Tec P11, 10-round magazine, 9mm, exceedingly light. The frame is polymer, slide and barrel are steel, but it is exceedingly light. And while not a pocket gun like, say, a Ruger LCP or a Kel-Tec P380, it's just highly concealable, tucks in, you don't even really know it's there. And this right here was, touted for quite a while as, about the smallest, lightest 9mm you could purchase. And it is a very small gun. Same thing, you get 2-finger grip on the grip of the pistol, 1 finger curled up underneath, and you can get a finger grip extension magazine. But, essentially this is what you get. And it's a tiny pistol. But the thing that I found remarkable about it is, if you look, the Detonics has about a 3/4 of an inch difference in length on it. But as far as width, there's really no advantage in narrowness to the Kel-Tec. You go grip height to top of the slide, and they're almost exactly the exact, same height. Of course, this is a real steel gun, and it's heavy, for its size. But that makes, shooting a full power 45 cartridge out of it a non-event. You can go to the range, you can put them all down range, hit your target nicely. After quite a few, rounds, it starts digging into your palm a little bit here where it rests, but, it's a carry pistol, it's not a range toy. So, it's not really something you'd concern yourself with. When they brought this out, what they originally did was they took full-size 1911, and it's called a cut and weld gun. They cut the grip here and here, sectioned it out, put in a jig, welded it all back together. So, you got your shorter grip dimensions. They cut the barrel down, they cut the slide down. Instead of having the standard, bushing, this right here was the first of your 1911s with what's referred to now as a bull barrel. It's got the coned out barrel. The early ones actually had a Colt national match barrels that had a cone silver soldered on. And, a lot of people advise, if you get one of these, don't shoot it a lot. You can take it out, carry it, shoot it a little bit. But some people worry that with a high round count, you may get, barrel separation. It also, for its size, has a full-length guide rod, came out with dual recoil springs. I've got the current Detonics recoil spring offering in this, which is a triple recoil spring. Works very well. And, these little things, they can be finicky. They really can. When I picked this one up, it wouldn't run. Someone had replaced the dual recoil spring setup with a single recoil spring. It would not return to battery, chamber around. The extractor was wore out or damaged. And, I did start to strip a round out and hang up on the next round that was supposed to go in and lock it up. I replaced the extractor with just a standard stainless extractor that, you'd pick up anywhere. Tune the tension on it a little bit. Replace the recoil springs in it. I've got it lubed up with a slipstream from Crusader Weaponry. And it runs flawless now. These are a little bit different than, what you'll find out there right now. There's your small 1911 officers types out there that, with the bull barrel and the, guide rod. And this right here has got a captured spring. You can take it and disassemble it, take the slide off, and your recoil springs and your guide rod come out as one piece. Similar with like a Glock. But unlike most 1911s, these do not have a grip safety. The only safety that they have is your thumb safety on it. But it's a very positive, I'm not going to say stiff or hard to manage, but very positive, definite on or off thumb safety. And a lot of people look at it and say, that looks strange. The rear sight, which is normally, back here, it's been moved up, which is, already short barreled pistol. A lot of people talk about, giving up sight radius. It's not a marksmanship pistol. It's up close, dirty, bad breath distance gun. The reason that it's scalloped out back here with the rear sight moved up is when this was brought out, cocked and locked carry was not very common. Most people would carry it with a round chambered and the hammer down on the round. So when they needed it, they would draw it out and either thumb cock it back, to bring it into action, or pull it out and fan it like a Wild West gunfighter to put it into action. So it was designed for that style of carry. No one carries like that anymore. You got a 1911, you carry it cocked and locked. If you don't feel safe carrying it cocked and locked with a round in the chamber, find a different pistol. Otherwise, you'll be drawing and trying to pull the hammer back, or drawing and trying to chamber around, and you lose valuable time. If something's going on, you can't use your weak hand. You're one-handing it and trying to thumb it back or whatever. It doesn't work well. But no, I've got two of these. This right here is a Mark II in brushed nickel. It's either a Mark II or a Mark III. It's either brushed nickel or hard chrome. I haven't checked it yet. It's more likely to be brushed nickel if it's hard chrome. It's a fairly rare pistol, and I'll be hanging on to it. I'm going to hang on to it anyway. But I have this one. And I also have this one, which is the first Combat Master that I ever bought. This one, I ran across it, a small little local gun store, for an amazing price. I got it, took it to the range, it didn't want to run. Same story as the other one. It just was unreliable. I replaced the weak dual recoil spring setup with the new Detonics triple recoil spring setup, lubed it up with Slipstream, shot the heck out of it, and it runs like a champ. These right here are small pistols with high slide velocities. They beat up recoil springs. If you're going to shoot it a bit, you're going to be replacing recoil springs a bit. So, just if you ever run across one of these and decide you might want it, keep that in mind. Recoil springs are not that expensive. You can order them from Detonics on their website. You can order magazines from Detonics on their website. And it's just, you're not going to go into your your average gun store and find your parts for it. But a lot of your parts, your firing pin spring, your safety, your slide stop, those are off the rack parts. Your trigger, your mag release, those are off the rack 1911 parts, and they go right in. But there's a few things. You're not going to find grips everywhere. You're going to have to order special grips. They are shorter. Like I said, your springs, your magazines. This is, magazine for Detonics Combat Master. It is shorter than your officer's model. It's definitely shorter than your full size. Give you an idea about the difference in the length between full size and Combat Master. This right here is this magazine out of my Delta Elite. But, it's quite a bit shorter. And an interesting feature, which was really pretty much, unintentional, is with the follower on this, to get 6 rounds, because this holds 6 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the chamber. To get the 6 rounds in it, they made a slot down here at the bottom of the mag. So when you load a full magazine and it clicks in, the bottom of the follower hangs out the magazine. You can tell with a touch. A lot of people, are used to the loaded round indicator for the pistol. This one's got a full loaded magazine indicator on the magazine. It's just a unique touch. But you can, every now and then find the old original Detonics magazines. You can find some replacement magazines for it. The current Detonics company sells magazines. They're not like the old ones, but they're metal form. They're not a bad magazine. And I found out, fairly recently from a friend of mine online, Lewis Q from We the Armed, that when Wilson brought out their Sentinel, it was a shortened up 1911 with a shorter grip than the officer's model, and they produced magazine for it. It's a Wilson 47 Sen, S-E-N. And they go right in, snap in very nicely. Got a little bit of a gap here, but they function well. And it's another option. And, it's a Wilson magazine, so it's good quality. But this one right here, this is an early production. They started production around serial number 2000 to 2500. This has got a 3200 serial number. So this is a first year Detonics Combat Master. It's blued. It's what's called a Mark 1. And, it's just a very interesting, very nice little pistol. The hammer on this one, if you'll notice, is lower. It's a little bit more difficult to thumb cock. You're not really going to fan it back as easy. So after, they tried out different things, they went to the different hammers. The hammer on this one, if you'll notice, is up higher, rounded, very similar to like a modification of the Commander ring hammer. And it grips very easily. But no, these are just really interesting, nice pistols, and you don't find them everywhere. This one is got a production number in the 5,000 range, so it's in the first couple to 3 years of production. And if you keep your eyes open, you'll find them. The prices on them fluctuate. I've seen them for well over $1,000. I picked these up for considerably less, just because the people that had them didn't take proper care of them, didn't maintain them, and they ceased to function properly. But with a little bit of time and care and a minimal amount of money put into them, they're back to working flawlessly. So, just great little pistols. This right here is a size comparison, so you can see the difference in the size and what a revelation it was. Like I said, this right here came out about 8 years before Colt brought their own officer's model out. So they saw the demand for a concealed carry 1911. And personally, I don't think they did as well. With a carry pistol in general, the grip is the hardest part to conceal. You're going to be inside the waistband, the barrel's going to be tucked down, and you're just looking at hiding the grip. The less grip you have, the easier it is to conceal. And the 1911 platform is a very narrow pistol for a full-size 45 caliber cartridge. And so this way, so you get your 3.5-inch barrel, 45 caliber cartridge. You get 7 rounds, but a lot of people feel more than comfortable carrying a 5-shot 38 J-frame. And I like autos, I like revolvers, and I just love the 1911 platform. I love the little Detonics pistols and how they shoot. And when I can, I'll see about getting to the range and getting a range video with them. If you've got any questions, feel free to post them, and I'll answer them when I get to them. And thanks a lot.